Hi, everyone. This is Gary Wilson, and welcome to tonight's live investor agent webinar. And as usual, we do have students on who've taken either the flip program or the rental program. Those are programs specifically designed to just focused on those strategies. And typically, they're actually are geared towards investors, but as many of you know, many of you are investors. So you'll take what we're learning here in the investor agent program, and once you start leveraging your license and generating some cash flow, of course, many people want to dive right into doing their own investing, and that's why we have those programs. We go a few layers deeper into each strategy. And other than that, I don't want to talk about that tonight. They're out there, they're available. If anybody has an interest, obviously let me know. And the fact that you're in this program, you're automatically a candidate for those programs. We like to see you get your first transaction under your belt first, earning a commission. Before we take on anything new, so we don't want you to take, in other words, we don't want you to be overwhelmed. Just focus on one thing at a time. And I promise you, when you do that, you'll master the thing you're focusing on first. And then you can take that and build on that and take on the next thing. So in any case, what we're going to do tonight is this. This is the investor agent leverage page in the back of the what we call the Reader's Digest book. And it gives you 13 things to do when you first get started. But we're going to go over this, and I'm going to focus on numbers 1, 2, and 3. And also, we're going to go back to module 1 of the training manual, because a lot of people I'm noticing they're bypassing the initial steps. And I've had this conversation in the month of December. I bet I had it 7 times. I keep a little tally of the types of conversations I have and what the subject matters are. And a lot of people are moving ahead quickly. And of course, we're all entrepreneurs. A lot of us are high D type personalities. But I can promise you this: if you build a solid foundation, if you focus on the fundamentals first, the latter steps will come much more easily and much more profitably. And what I mean by that is if you the other part of tonight we're going to go over is, I'll just show you here. This is a school report. Many of you have seen it a number of times. I know Scott Mosley just recently built his. We're going to look at that and go back through the steps involved to determine the best areas to invest in. Even if you're not investing, you still need to do this for your clients, okay? Because you're going to show them this information and help them make these wise decisions. A lot of people are bypassing this and going right into the marketing material. And I love the fact that you're aggressive and ambitious, but I can tell you from experience, because I used to do this, guys. I was Mr. Ready, Fire, Aim. I would get out there, work my butt off, and I would make some money. But I knew intuitively that I was making some mistakes. Sometimes I wasn't even aware of until after the mistake was made, of course, and missing things. And when I learned to focus on these fundamentals, it allowed me to operate more efficiently with fewer mistakes and missing fewer opportunities. Okay, maybe a better service partner, better service provider, and obviously a better investor. So that's why we just think Larry Bird, guys. Larry Bird, of course, one of the most famous basketball players ever, and in his illustrious career, every single day that he played, actually I think every day, he practiced the fundamentals. So he was interviewed after his last game, and the interviewer said, "Hey, Larry, and I'm just curious, you had a great game today, but you don't seem like overly excited. You're retired now. What did you do today? How did you prepare for the game? Did you?" I assume the interviewer was thinking he sat back and read the newspaper and drank coffee. Larry Bird said, "I did the same thing I've been doing since I was a little boy who first started playing basketball. I got out my basketball and I dribbled 3,000 times. And I passed 2,000 times, and I shot 1,000 times free throws." That's what he did. He focused on the fundamentals. I don't remember the exact numbers. It was some crazy number like that. I mean, and this is a guy who's at the top of his profession, and anybody will tell you, okay? And for those of you who have practiced martial arts, in karate, the black belt practices the same kata as the white belt. The only difference is the black belt's done it 1,000,000 times, okay? So enough said. That's my moment of preaching. Okay, let's go back to where I was going to start, which was the first part of this evening's presentation. And by all means, if you have questions, please type them in the question box. and we will get to them. All right. So even for the veterans, I mean, we do this because just like I said, the veterans need this too. So here's how I want to start. I just had this conversation at 11 o'clock this morning. So about 8 hours ago. This was a veteran agent in Detroit. I'm not going to mention his name. He's a good guy. He's doing a great job investing. He's got a great little program going, a team going. He's doing awesome, and he's in the program now. So he's actually in the middle of building, or I'm sorry, he's loaded his contact management system, and I guess I could plug it if you guys wanted SmartForce is what it is, or Salesforce, excuse me, Salesforce. And now he's going through and cleaning it up, making sure he has accurate, correct information for everybody and complete information. You know, a contact is not a contact if you can't get a hold of them in 3 different ways, which is your phone number, their email address, and their physical address. Okay, a good contact has all 3. If you only have one of the above, your probability of profiting with that client relationship is going to be dramatically diminished. Okay, it's not that it's because you have more ways to get a hold of them. It's just they trust you enough and they value the relationship enough to give you all 3 forms of contact. Okay. So in any case, fundamentals. Make sure everybody in your number one, make sure you have a database. Okay. So many of you are using like an Excel spreadsheet or your own. I've seen people still use a hard copy book, like a binder, and that's fine if that's what works for you. The best system is the one you will use. Okay. However, you want to make sure you have a system to begin with. So whether it's a binder or what I highly recommend is use something like Salesforce or Top Producer, or even the one that comes, if you're a Keller Williams agent, that is the one that's called eEdge. Okay. You have that. That's free, by the way, where you pay for it as part of your monthly dues. So in your system, whatever system you have, you want to go through there and make sure you have as complete information as possible on everybody in your database. And while you're doing that, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to ask yourself, how do you know that person? And by the way, guys, I would write this down. How do you know that person? Okay. Number one. The second question is, what do you know about them? Okay. Now there's 2 or 3 other questions. The next one is this. Generally speaking, was it a good relationship, or would you consider it a good, healthy relationship, or is it one that's tarnished or damaged? In other words, you want to ask yourself, do you think it is a profitable use of your time to be dealing with those people? Even keeping them on your database, it's taken some time to do this. If the answer is more no than yes, then remove them from your database. I know it seems harsh, but let's face it. You want to spend as much time as humanly possible on your best prospects, okay? If you rank your prospects on a scale of 1 from 10, 1 being least likely to engage in a transaction and 10 being most likely, you should spend most of your time with your 10s. Then the next amount of time you want to spend with your 9s. And after that, your 8s, and on down the line. So if you're really doing a good business, you may never get below the number 6, guys. You might never get to the 5 or belows, okay? Regardless, though, at a minimum, nobody in your database should be a 1. If you have 1s in your database, you need to eliminate them, okay? And by the way, this process is something that you go through on a regular basis. I know people that do this monthly. I know people that do it semi-annually, but at a minimum, you want to do this on an annual basis, okay? And the philosophy is this. We got up from Verizon. Years ago, we studied different businesses, and we studied Verizon. And what Verizon did was this. Every year when they did reviews, employee reviews, they would, on purpose, lay off the bottom 5%, okay? And they were constantly trying to get people to move into the top 5%. And I know that seems harsh too, but the reality is this. They were focusing their time, energy, and money on the best employees, okay? So the people who came in at 5% or below were not going to get another chance, all right? Because the company decided to spend their time on the people who had the best, most likely probability of succeeding. You want to do the same thing, guys, with your contact management system, okay? This is what the pros do. And my goal for each and every one of you is to have you move up the ranks and into that pro status, like our investor agent is doing up in Detroit. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is this: when you have the answer to how you know them and what you know about them, and in general terms, you've ranked them 1 to 10. Are they 1 least likely to produce a commission check for you in the future, or 10 most likely? Okay, the next thing you want to do is this. When you reflect on them, ask yourself, do you think they will be likely to invest? Okay, likely candidates to invest. 10 being most likely, 1 being least likely. All right, there's a number of reasons why we do this. This whole program is focused on the investor-agent relationship. So you obviously want to focus your time, just like the veterans do, and just like Verizon does, on the top 1% first, okay, or the top 10%, excuse me, and then the middle, and then the next 10%. So the people who come out as 10s, in your opinion, again, this is an intuitive process based somewhat on facts and information in your memory and your recollection, but more importantly, a gut feeling, okay? And it's going to, number one, to condition you to trust your instincts, to trust your intuition, to trust your gut, okay? And number two is it's going to get you in the practice of maintaining a healthy, profitable contact management system, all right? And the third thing is, when you're focusing on the investor-agent relationship, the people who are 10s are the ones who you're going to invite to your first workshops. You're okay if you put on a classroom format, and some of you are already doing that now. Congratulations, by the way, for those of you who are. You've graduated to that level. By the way, for those of you who are not familiar with that, once you've done your first workshop, it may be the first one, the second one, or the third one, a lot of our agents are graduating to what we call the classroom platform, the classroom method of getting clients. And there's a four series recorded webinar sessions, four of them, excuse me, that we did back in late September, early October, I believe, that cover that whole subject. We did it over a period of 4 weeks. If you go to your member section on your website for this program, you can go get the previously recorded webinars, the ones that were, of course, they were live and we recorded them, and look by the subject, they're cataloged by subject. Look for the classroom scenario, and you'll see there's 4 of them out there, and you can download them and listen to them, or get the link and listen to the recording, okay? And get familiar with it. If you're ready for that, let me know, and we'll walk you through the process. But in any case, back to tonight's subject. Okay, that last step is critical. Who's least likely to invest and who's most likely to invest? And when you do that, you may have to add a field. You may have to add take the first character of your comment section, depending on what system you use. The bottom line is you want to do that for everybody in your database, okay? Now, here's the next part that I want to go over with you. And here's where the people who I've seen succeed the most with their databases do this. And I've done it myself for years. I've been doing this for probably, I bet, daily for the last 13 years. And here's what I want you to do. Every day you're out, okay? Some days you're out more than others. I get it, okay? But every day you're out, you want to make a note of every person you meet, whether you've already known them or you're meeting them for the very first time. You want to make sure you get their name and recall their name, okay? And if possible, get more information. Right now, you're just trying to get their name and some contact information. You ultimately want phone number, email, and physical address. Right now, just get something. And what you do at the end of the day is you take an extra 5 minutes, okay, bring up your contact management system, and add those people to your database, because some of the people you meet, even though you've already known them, they may not have been in your contact management system, okay? You just simply weren't thinking of them before, and now you run into them at the grocery store or school or the library, and you can put them in your contact management system. And the brand new people, obviously, they're brand new contacts, all right? So sometimes you get a business card, but if you're meeting them enough to get their name, and you strike up a little bit of a conversation, and remember, the second question out of everybody's mouth is, what do you do? So when you ask them, what do they do, you'll get their vocation, and you can follow up and say, really, I might have an interest in contacting you later. Would you mind if I get your phone number? or what's your email address. Just get something, okay? Try to get both if you can. And then when they ask you what you do, obviously you want to set yourself apart from the crowd. You don't want to just say, oh, I'm a real estate agent, or I'm just an agent, or something like that. Okay, that's what they're getting from everybody else. And there's just in NAR alone, the National Association of Realtors, I think there's now 1,250,000, something like that. Okay, what you want to say is, oh, I've had my realtor's license and I specialize on investors. I focus on the investor business. I promise you will get a more favorable response from that than you will from just saying, oh, I'm just a realtor. Okay. And you can let them know that you serve the general community too, if that's what you choose to do. The bottom line is you're going to get the information every day. You know, I keep it, you all met me. Everybody in this program has met me at class. You see that I carry a Franklin Daily Planner. That's how I'm accomplish that, guys. As soon as I get out to my car, I write down who I met, okay? And I've jotted down their contact information. Then at night, when I sit down at my computer, it takes less than 5 minutes to enter them into the system, okay? Now, of course, I have Beverly do that for me now, but years ago I did that myself, and now Beverly does it for me. That one thing alone right there, guys, is what will get you to, you know, say 30 or 60 people to 200 to 300 people within a matter of weeks. It's going to be amazing, okay, how many people you can add to your database with that one technique. All right, another technique. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to take a pause here just to let you guys catch up on that. I know I gave you a lot of information, so take some quick notes, and I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. And drink some milk. Okay. The next thing is this. Especially for you guys who are just starting out, or if you don't even have a systematized contact management system, pay really close attention here. I learned this from a guy, his name's John Zinsner, and I don't even know if he's still in the business. He was old when he taught me this. One of the easiest things you can do to build your contact management system from scratch is to get out the phone book, okay, and start going through it alphabetically, A through Z. Take one letter of the alphabet every day for the next 26 days. You can do it Monday through Friday and do that over a 5-week period and throw in an extra Saturday. But the bottom line is just 26 letters. Each day you want to go through the vocations in letter A, for example. You know, apple farmer, accountant, acupuncturist, whatever the case is, airline pilot, okay? And you want to first of all, create your own chart, or if in your contact management system, if you can add categories. I've done that for years. So I have everybody broken down by vocation. And then go through that and think through, who do I know who's an accountant? Who do I know who's an acupuncturist, okay? If that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know if that's right. But go through every vocation in that letter in the alphabet, and they're all in the phone book, and ask yourself, who do you know who serves in that profession, okay? And here's the real kicker. Many of the people you know are actually going to be in the phone book, so you get their name and their phone number and their physical address, okay? But that is an awesome, awesome way to start from scratch with your contact management system. I can't emphasize that enough, guys. Extremely powerful and extremely prolific and extremely necessary. If you just try to do it from memory, you're going to struggle and you'll never really build up your database. You've got to use a tool like that to do it. And that's an awesome tool to use. So you can just, if you don't have a phone book, go online and Google Yellow Pages for your area, and you'll get the Yellow Pages for free for your area, okay? So in any case, now in the beginning, what we did is we actually created an Excel spreadsheet, and we created it with the category of vocation. We had literally dozens and dozens and dozens of vocations, and then we filled in the names. This was before we had Top Producer, okay? Now, just to give an idea how powerful this is, guys, when I first started my contact management system, I was sitting in class, and John said, okay, write down everybody you know. And I think I had like 20 people because I worked in banking and mergers and acquisitions, and they just let it. I did systems work. Okay, I was behind the scenes, so I didn't get out in the public and meet people. So I had like 20 people. Okay, it was embarrassing. And John walked by and told me that trick. And I'm telling you, within 3 weeks, I had almost 300 people in my database because I use that one technique. Now, obviously, I'm more systematized and automated now. So fast forward here, 13 years, my database has between 60 and 70,000 people in it, okay? Now that sounds kind of freaky, but I'm telling you, it happens, all right? And by the way, it's not just all students. In fact, I only have about 400 students right now, so you make up about 400 people out of that group, okay? Obviously, a lot of realtors in there. But in any case, when I use that technique, my database went quickly to 1,000 and then went very quickly to 10,000. And I was told when I had 10,000 people, I should be making a lot of money. And guess what? I was making a lot of money. And I owe that to John Zisner for showing me that technique, all right? Now, obviously, I need to figure out how to market to these people, and that's what this program is primarily about, is how do you market to these folks. But I want to just spend time on this because it's that important. It's not just foundational, guys. It's the keystone of your foundation. A keystone is the most important block in a foundation, all right? That's how important it is. Okay, let me check and see if we got any questions so far. I hope you guys are taking notes, including the veterans in the group. I will tell you this. I'm willing to bet you, I'll tell you what I'm willing to do. This is how important this is. You know, we're constantly rolling out new platforms. We've obviously got one on flipping, one on buying rentals. We're working on one now on property management. We've been delayed a few weeks, although we have a podcast coming out in January from a friend of mine, who actually bought my property management business. We've become good friends. And because a lot of students are asking about property management, so we're going to develop that training program. I'm going to, and you guys can mark my words on this. If you guys do what I just suggested for the next year, and you don't get at least a transaction out of it, I will give you one of the other training programs for free. Okay, so write that down. That's how important. That's how certain I am of this process and how critical it is. Okay. Let's see what we got here. This is Lou. Okay, when looking through a phone book, starting with A's, if I don't know an acupuncturist, do I just put down one of the names? No, I wouldn't do that, Lou, because technically they're not a contact unless you've actually met them or been introduced to them, or if it's somehow or another interacted with them to get their name and number and or email address, okay? And now, you can certainly stop by to see them. If you're out and about and you happen to stop by an office and you see that the office there, stop and introduce yourself. Say, hey, I'm Lou. You know, I work with investors. In fact, Lou, you might want to keep a current stack of your booklet with you so you can drop it off and say, hey, you know, I thought you might be interested in this. This is some investment opportunities in the area. And more importantly, there's some tools in there you can use to figure out how to analyze those properties, okay? And now you've got a contact. All right, that qualifies as a contact, but good question. Okay, all right. I think I beat that horse pretty good. Does anybody feel like they're? Let me put it this way: who here does not see the value in what I just discussed when it comes to contact management system? Because I'm hoping if I say who sees the value, every hand would be up or everybody would make a comment. And every couple of months we'll do that again, guys, because we're always bringing in new people, and it's a great reminder to develop that habit. It's easy, believe me, guys, I know it's easy to fall out of these good habits, but I can tell you that one thing alone, all the other things I've done would not have happened as profitably if I hadn't done that first thing, all right? So in any case, we got through the first two steps here, all right? Now the next thing is you want to reach out to these people, okay? And I'll give you a couple of big tips here. So we're just focusing on just the bare essentials here. I'm not even going to talk about the workshop for another couple of minutes. The next thing you want to do is this. I want you to practice using some of the analysis tools that come with your training program. Now, some of you are brand new and you haven't even gotten Module 2 yet. Don't worry, you'll get the calculators and the spreadsheets between Modules 1 and Modules 2, all right? What I want you to do is by the end of Module 2, I want you to practice that process in there on yourself. You know, determining all the possibilities of investing in the area and going through that iteration of narrowing the search down, okay, and continually cutting your search, the scope of your search in half. So if you have initially 100 properties that you deem investment properties, okay, that are They're on your database as rentals, or they're foreclosures, whatever they are. They're candidates for flips or for rentals. You go through the analysis process, and the first step is you cut that number in half just based on list price versus market value. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that tonight, but that's in module 2. What I want you to do is practice using your tools on properties in your area. And you want to keep track of those properties, particularly ones you think, hey, according to this, looks like it might be a good deal. All right. And the reason is this: I'm going to have you send them to the people in your database that you just identified as being most likely to invest. Only use the 10s first. And don't even do the 9s, 8s, and 7s, and 6s. Just do the 10s first. Because all you're trying to do is test the waters and exercise your risk threshold and practice your dialogue, okay? And here's what you do. All right, you find a couple of properties, and let's say you're working with you're going to send an email to John Doe. John Doe is a orthodontist, and something he said in the past, or you happen to be in his office with your child getting braces, and you saw Kiplinger's magazine on his table outside, or a book by Robert Kiyosaki, or something about investing, or he maybe mentioned something in passing, like you heard him walking down the hallway talking to his receptionist saying, gee, I wish I could get that tenant out of there. They didn't pay their rent this month. Well, you now know that guy's an investor. He owns a piece of rental property. What you do is you email them, okay? Email them the listing for the property, or if it's an off-market property, email them any information that you have on the property, and also give them a sample of one of the calculators filled out, okay? And at the same time, give him a blank copy of the whatever calculator you're using, one that's not filled out, because you're going to say, hey, John, I've came across this property. I thought about you because of something I heard you say in passing, or I saw a magazine in your office that led me to believe you're interested in investing in real estate. It's in your area. Take a look at it. By the way, I included a calculator already filled out for you, and just for fun, I included a blank one for you to try on your own. I want you to see some of the tools I have that are available to help you analyze investment properties. Okay. Now I'll slow down, let you write that stuff down, guys, because you can use that scripting almost verbatim. All right. Okay. Now what you want to do is at the end of the email say, how about if I follow up with you in the next day or so? Okay, you're not making any firm commitments. You're not telling them you're going to stop by and visit them in give them a phone call. You're just saying you're going to follow up with them, which leaves the door open for you to send another email, to send a text message if you have their phone number, cell phone, or call them if you have their cell, or call them at the office. Okay, now this is where you have to be careful, because if they're self-employed service providers, they're going to be pretty busy. All right, and you want to be mindful of that. So what you might want to do is follow up with a text message that you have. That's what I would suggest first, all right? The bottom line is you want to pique their interest, intrigue them by giving them something like the Opportunity Evaluator, all right, or the link for the Rental Property Reporter, or the rehab worksheet for flips, whatever the case is, whatever one's appropriate. You intrigue them by giving them not just one that's filled out where you've done the work for them, because remember, we don't want to do that. We want them to do the work. So you give them a blank one, and I can promise you no other agent is doing that, all right? So you've piqued their interest, you've intrigued them, and, one out of, or 3 times out of 25, you're going to get some takers just by doing that. It's the same thing with the booklet that we use. You're doing the same thing we do in a booklet. You're just doing more of a one-on-one approach, okay? You're basically building up your risk threshold. So Scott, if you're still on the phone here, here's a quick tidbit for you. So you've just done your first booklet mailing. Now what you could do is, if you're in an area where one of those offices resides, Scott, stop in and visit them. Remember, business casual, okay? And say, hey, I'm Scott. I'm the guy that sent you that. What do you think? Do you think you have an interest in this? Okay? And at first you'll get kind of a non-committal response, because you're kind of caught them off guard a little bit. They're not ready for you. They don't know you're coming to visit them. So then what you say, Scott, and for everyone else is, hey, no worries. How about if I just set you up on a search to show you what else is possible in your area? I promise you're going to get a lot more favorable responses with that. Okay, so a little bit of a sidebar there for Scott. Anybody else who's sending out their booklet or has just recently sent them out. All right. So back to this. You're doing this now again on a one-on-one basis. You're going through your contact management system, looking for the people you said were a 10 being most likely to invest. Okay. And you just send them 1, 2, maybe 3 properties. You don't want to send any more than that, guys. If you know, in fact, that they're a regular investor, by all means, send them 5 or 6, okay? But remember, people that you don't know if they'd invested before, they may not have, and you don't want to overwhelm them. Just send them 1 to 3 properties, and that's it, all right? And the tools, okay? And then you do, guess what? You have to follow up. So now you've got to determine the best way to follow up with these people, and it's a case-by-case basis. If you know them enough to know that they like communicating with text messaging better, then use that. If you think they like communicating with emails better, then do that. If you think they're more direct and they would rather communicate verbally, then give them a phone call by all means. Now, the catch here is if they're, again, self-employed service providers, don't call them on their cell because it could be in the middle of appointment. Call them on the office line, and they'll tell you if they're in with a patient or not, okay? So in any case, that's the very first thing you do once you've got your contact management system up and running. You want to exercise it. You want to grab the low-hanging fruit. And even if you just do, in fact, I would do this. I would take one night, take 1 or 2 hours to find a couple likely investments, all right? Build a little email with that, with the links, okay, and the attachments, and go ahead and send that, put that verbiage in there that I gave you, and send it to every one of your 10s. Do it all in the same night. And while you've got the momentum going, send it to all of your 10s. It could be 5 of them. It could be 25 of them. I don't know. Everybody's different. But send them to all your 10s, okay? And then give yourself the next 48 hours. You want to, and by the way, this is critical. The follow-up has to occur preferably within a day and no later than 2 days, okay? If you follow up 3 days or beyond, your chances of success drop dramatically, all right? So you want to follow up within 48 hours, preferably within a day, all right? And again, email, text, phone call, whatever you think is best. And don't be afraid to try, guys. Don't not do it because you're afraid, well, what if they don't like texting? Well, you don't know that. You've got to try to find out. And don't worry if you mess up on one. There's going to be plenty more. I promise you that. Okay. So the follow-up is critical. So that's the next thing you want to do. So let's do a real quick recap here. First thing is you're going to replay this recording and review your notes so you know how to go through your contact management system to get it to be a professional contact management system, one that's actually going to generate profits from you. Okay. The next thing is the people that you've identified as being most likely to invest, your 10s. You're going to go out and do some research in your database, find properties, just a small handful, send them to these folks with copies of the evaluation sheets or the calculators, depending on whether you're doing a flip or a rental. Okay, 1 filled out and 1 blank. Okay, let's do a quick pause here and check for questions. Let's see. Okay, this is Donna. Hi, Donna. What if you don't have any properties to send your investors? How do you find properties? Okay, so, and by the way, I hope that's Donna because the name again is getting cut off here. Looks like Donna Bedford. So in any case, Donna, to answer your question, you want to look in your database and your content, you want to look in your MLS system right away. I would get used to doing this practice. If you're in Module 2, I give you the actual sequence of steps to follow in Module 2 and how do you actually go through all the possibilities and narrow that search down. Yeah, I do it once for flips and once for rentals. So you want to do that if you're in Module 2. If you haven't gotten Module 2 yet, you should be getting it any day if you've already got Module 1. The fact that you're on the webinar tells me you've already at least gotten Module 1. But go on every MLS system, they're broken down by category, okay, or property type. So all of your single-family homes will be in one section or one database. All of your farms and land will be on another. Industrial space will be on another. Retail will go to one, office space another one, and then the investor ones. Or I would maybe just start with multi-units. Okay, look for the ones that are identified as rental properties. Get all of them out there, and then go through using the process in Module 2 to narrow that search down and get it down from maybe 50 properties wherever you are in the country down to about 5 or 6. Okay, and then if you can get it down from there further to 3, that's what you want to try to do. But follow that process, Donna. You should come up with a handful of properties. That's to look at rentals. If you're looking for flips, then what you want to do is you want to search for properties that are foreclosures or short sales. You want to look for people who have, there's in the ownership line or in the remarks says something about POA or power of attorney. Okay, that could be probate. In other words, someone passed away. You certainly should be looking for REOs, bank-owned properties, foreclosures. We said that. Also, possibly you could find some good FSBOs off the system and also some expires on the system. All those, the group I just mentioned there, Donna, all would make good candidates, potentially good candidates for flips. Okay. The rentals are easy because they're all identified as rental properties, right? It's all the other ones that you need to figure out what makes sense for a flip that you've got to go through a little bit more work and understand your MLS system and what keywords and phrases people are using, like bank owned, REO, foreclosure, VA, Fannie Mae, which is FNMA. All of those keywords or identifiers you can key in on in your search criteria. Okay, that's how you find them. Now, I prefer also doing rentals on this technique, by the way, because I like looking for rentals that are already up and running and showing an income, because I can get a lot more financial data on those properties. In order to determine if a flip property is a good flip, you've actually got to physically go out there and do the walkthrough, the physical analysis on the property to determine that the project is a small enough scope that it leaves profit for you in the case of a flip. Okay, that's why this technique works better for rentals. It's just less time consuming. All right. So, in any case, good question. Also, if you're in one of the areas it has really tight inventory, which is a lot of places around North America, U.S. and Canada right now, you can use your county courthouse records to identify people who are in probate, people going through divorce, people going through foreclosure, through bankruptcy. Okay, and use our letter technique to reach out to those people and get some potential properties that might work for flips. That's another good way to get potential inventory that's not on the MLS system. You can also use the same letter that we give you in the program, the one I go over in the class in the Market Center. You can also use that to write those people, but also write people who own rental properties, because a lot of people who own rental properties will be more than happy to sell them because they're struggling. They don't know what to do. They're getting beat up on their rent. All kinds of stuff's happening. Reach out to those people and get some inventory that's off the system. Okay. Let's see. This is Scott. Hi, Gary. Can you recommend a lead-in in regards to the email to your top 10, particularly if it has been a while since you spoke with them? Okay, Scott. Yeah. Here's some good language you can use. Dear Scott, I came across this property the other day or today while I'm looking for investment properties, and I thought of you because of something, there must be something, Scott, some reason why you think there were 10. Because I saw a book on your counter at your office that was about investing, or was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, or it was, from Carlton Sheets or Russ Whitney or Ron LeGrand, one of the old, investor gurus. Something, whatever it was, Scott, that made you believe that there are 10, put it in there. Because of this, I thought of you. So whatever this is what you put in there. So dear Scott, I came across this property during doing some research for an investment property, and I thought of you because of, and you fill in the blank. Okay. By the way, I included a worksheet, an analysis worksheet for you to show you why this may make a good investment. And by the way, I also giving you a blank one you can use for this to run your own numbers, and give them the actual live link, give them the actual Excel spreadsheet, so that's interactive. by the way, Scott. And by the way, so that you can practice on this yourself. And more importantly, if you have other properties you thought you might be interested in, use this calculator. It's the one true test of a good rental property. Okay. By the way, I will reach out to you the next day or so to discuss this. Thank you very much, Scott, and then put in your contact information, okay? So if you believe they're a 10, that's a pretty good sign. If you haven't spoken to them for a while, you need to be, you can build a little rapport in the beginning, and you're going to do that by saying, hey, I came across this property and thought of you, but definitely be direct, as far as you following up with them, because they haven't heard from you for a while. You don't want to leave it open-ended. Never do this. Never say, call me when you have a chance, or when you're ready to discuss this, let me know. Because when you give up control, you give up profit. So that's why you always want to say, I'll reach out to you in the next day or so. Okay? Now they're expecting your call. Even if they're somewhat hesitant, at least they got the expectation you're going to reach out to them. Okay? So that should work for you. Let's see. We got some other questions here. Scott says, "Oh, have to run." Oh, thanks, Scott. Get the recording tomorrow, Scott. We're gonna stop at 8 tonight because I know a lot of people said they're with family or family's still in town visiting, and that's why I didn't want to do it last week, but I didn't want to skip 2 weeks in a row. That's why we're having one this week, and I do appreciate we got a lot of people on tonight. So I appreciate you guys, your ambition and your genuine interest in progressing here. So thanks, Scott. Have a good night, buddy. And maybe give me a call Saturday or Sunday if you want. Okay, so back to this, guys. We're getting short on time here, and I want to get to the next subject. That's really all I wanted you to do right now. You're basically looking to nurture these relationships. That's what number 4 is all about, all right? And you can do that on a regular basis without spending a dime, So there was a person I had on a one-on-one a few weeks ago, and she's on. Hi, I'm not going to mention your name, but I was out in Santa Barbara, and we had a great conversation about how to actually get things started, and I was going over this with her. So pay attention here, because I know we're scheduled. Actually, I'll just say it's Angie. Angie, I know we're scheduled to meet again, I think, on the 9th, I think it is, of January. So here's what you want to do. Focus on nurturing these relationships because it's the low-hanging fruit. 10% of your database, we know statistically, is going to turn into an investor transaction. You could also, as a matter of fact, I think you should join your local investors group. Okay, could be RIA, could be ACRE. I know it's a little bit of dues. You're not looking to join them to get clients. You can if you want to, but quite frankly, they'll drive you crazy. What you're looking to do is to learn the names of good contractors, investors, plumbers, of course, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, you name it, carpeting people, insurance people, of course, lenders. You want lenders who can actually get investment deals funded, right? Okay. So, and the next thing is figure out how to go access your county tax assessment database. Everyone in the country is loaded right now. Out of the 3,000 we've looked at, only 4 were not loaded, but they had a county population of like 17 or something. So that only makes sense. But you want to get access. You want to figure out how to look at your county tax assessment databases. We'll be getting to that stuff in future modules. Okay. In any case, let's get over to the next thing here. All right. I'm going to go over this, not in a lot of detail because you guys have all seen this. All right. But I want to refresh your memory. All right. Let's see. Let me check questions real quick, because I'm sorry, before we get into the next thing. I just want to make sure we're not leaving anybody hanging here. Okay, so far so good. All right, everybody should reckon this, guys. This is the school report. And again, just to refresh your memory, here's why we use it in the case of investing or working with investors. We want to know by school district. School districts, Hopewell, Butler, Mars, Seneca. These are just different school districts from around the country. Okay, we want to know what's active, which is currently what's active, okay? And we want to know what's sold in 90 days, all right? And we want to know that in price bands. Now, the price bands are relative. So if you're in Burlingame, California, which is just south of the Golden Gate Bridge, the average home price is $1.3 million. Well, obviously, you're not going to get much activity down here at the 1 to 150 range. So you might make these first several ranges $100,000 increments, okay, up to $1 million, and then you might do $250,000 after that, something like that. All right, but within each band, within each price band, you've got what's active and what's sold. Now I can see this example here. 35 homes are currently active. In the last 90 days, only 26 have sold. That does not bode well for this neighborhood. That means there's more inventory than we have people buying. On the other hand, if you go all the way over here to the right and you look down, these are the examples I use in class, you'll see in these next three lines, probably 2 to 3 times as many homes have been selling that are currently active. Well, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm flipping a home, I want to flip a home here. I want to flip a home where people are selling and people are buying, okay? And I'm sure your investors feel the same way. And if you're a flipper like me, this is like the key to the vault. This is where you flip homes. This is just one example, okay? There might be others down here too. I don't know if I see any off the top of my head here, but here's one, 26 sold and 10 active. That's a pretty good one there. So in any case, you want to find out what these areas are, school district and price range, okay? You do that by using MLS searches and get the results and fill in these blanks, okay? So now you know by school district and within price range, what are the good areas to be flipping homes in? This is used for flipping, all right? Now, if you remember, and by the way, here's the zipcodes.com. You can use that for more information. This is self-explanatory. I don't really need to cover this. It's easy. Everybody got the link. It's literally zipcodes.com. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, but the next thing is absolutely critical. All right, and here's an example of a good flipping neighborhood. As you can see, there's no apartments. Okay, and there's a lot of homes in these carrier routes, and I can see their average home price. So what you do is you go back to start with your school report. Okay. You've got the price range, 150 to 200,000, or excuse me, 150 to 300,000. Okay. Now we go plug in all the zip codes for that area. Okay. Oops, excuse me. Okay, here we go. And there's a zip code right here. You plug it in. Okay. Look at the carrier routes, and you can see there's 3 carrier routes, 1, 2, 3 within that price range. Now you can build an MLS search based on this carrier route. You expand this, click on this, it expands and shows you the carrier route, and draw a polygram and build a map search on only these 3 areas, okay? Now you've got you're set up to show clients whatever it is they need in the areas that you know properties are being listed and properties are being sold, and by default, obviously, that's where that's where your investors want to invest. So let me stop here for just a second. Let me bring the panel back over so I can check for questions. Okay, so far I think we are caught up. Yeah. All right, so let me let you guys write notes down if you need to write more notes. Hang on one second. Okay. So the third thing we do when we're determining the areas to invest in is use your local planning commission website, okay? And I always just like to use the example of age. Now, again, you can get everything you want on any neighborhood on these websites, okay? You can get everything related to sex, age, race, religion. You've got all right here. Look at this. Race, age, broken down in multiple categories, okay? Total population. You get down here, household type, all right? Occupancy, how many are rentals, how many are owner-occupied. All of this information is available to you, all right? People with disabilities, the percentage and the numbers, all right? Let's see, people, again, disabilities again. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the reason this is important is this, all right? You want to make sure your investors are investing in the areas that are most likely to have homes that are selling easily and for closest to list price, okay? If you ask any flipper, they're going to tell you, I want to sell my home fast, and I want as much close to list price as possible. So the example that we give in class is this. Look at the category of age. If you're flipping a medium price home to a middle class family that on average has 2.3 children, and we can tell that by looking at the family makeup here, okay? You can just do simple math, average household size, just like less than 2 people, average family size, 2.78. So you have those numbers, okay? Now, does the average family want to move into a neighborhood where the largest segment of the population is getting ready to retire? That's the age-old question. And the answer is no. They want to move into an area where there's more people aged 25 to 44 that have 2.3 children, or in this case, 2.8 children, 2.78 to be exact. Okay? That's how and why you use this information. So when you do that, all of a sudden, now your investors are buying in the right neighborhoods with the right demographics and social graphics to enable them to sell their median price home quickly to a middle class family with 2.78 children. Okay? That's what that's all about. Yes, it takes practice, but once you do this one time, guys, you've mastered the technique, and more importantly, you can repeat this for any number of areas in your area of service. So let's say you're in Riverside, California, okay? Great area to be in right now, great area to be investing in or work with investors. Get a great population. You could go to your planning commission website, get all this information, and determine, you've got if you focus on the school district first, there might be multiple school districts and multiple areas within those school districts that make sense to invest. You want to validate that by looking at this demographic and social graphic information, because you might find out 1/3 or 1/2 of the areas that you determine look good on paper might look good on paper, but they're selling to other people who are downsizing to 2-bedroom bungalows, for example. Okay. And it might not be the best area to try to flip a home, because your prospective buyers drive by and see everybody in the driveway looking like they're over 55 and there's not a child to be found anywhere. The family with 2 or 3 children does not want to move into a neighborhood where there's no children. I can promise you that. Yes, you can sell a house. I'm not saying you can't, but might it take longer? Yes, it probably will. And might you not get full list price? That's right, you might not. You're looking to help your clients get closer to list price, all right, and as quickly as possible. So the reason I gave you this is I know we go over this a lot in our class, and because it's very important. And I had this conversation with, matter of fact, I think it was Brian from Chino Hills, not too long ago, about this very subject. And when you focus on these fundamentals, guys, it not only helps you be a better investor if that's what you're doing, but it really helps your clients be better investors. They're going to make more money, and you're going to make more money. So I hope that helps you guys a lot. Focus on this. It's all in the training manuals. Practice it. Here's the second thing I want to ask you guys to do here. You don't have to do this all in the next week, although I think you should. But practice this, okay? Practice what we just showed you tonight. Go to melissadata.com, okay? Pull up some zip codes. Look at the carrier routes. See if those average home prices are in the range for your area that you determine might make the best investment areas in this report right here, okay? So practice that. I would say right now, for the people who are just beginning, I would rather see you focus on your contact management system. If you're a veteran agent, and what I talked about the first part of tonight kind of got you a little bit nervous because you haven't been working on your contact management system. That comes first, and this comes second. That's why I did it in that order tonight, okay? Okay, let me check for questions here. Let's see. Okay, hi, Angie. Angie, okay, am I the only one with a choppy connection? I haven't heard from anybody else, Angie. I'm going to check here the audio real quick. Let's see. Boom working, mic working. It looks like the audio is okay. It could be in the network, Angie. It could be even on your computer, perhaps. And more likely, it's in a network. I know you're out in Southern California. In fact, I think you're in Marina del Rey. And let's see, it's 5. The sun's going down out there, It could be related to the sun going down. That affects sometimes reception, believe it or not. So that's probably the case. For anybody who's out in Southern California, close to the coast, as the sun has out over the water, you're going to start to your connection, the audio is going to start to sound a little scratchy, and sometimes you might get lines in your video too. So, in any case, let's see here. Oh, that was Angie from Orlando. Okay, I thought you were Angie from Marina Del Rey. So you're 8 o'clock actually. I tell you what, I'll check the recording later tonight once I got to download it and upload it. We'll see, make sure everything's okay. I apologize about that. I'm not sure everything's looking like it's working on this end. So in any case, guys, that's pretty much it for tonight. That's a 1-2 punch. And everybody, unless you've mastered what we just described tonight, please practice it. Practice makes perfect. You've got to actually exercise the legs on this horse to make it work. And it doesn't take long to start leveraging this activity into meeting people and getting them to sign up as your clients. And that's what you need to go out and get commissions, okay? Okay, I think that's it, guys. Looks like we're all good on the questions. I hope you all have had an awesome Christmas, or if you celebrated Hanukkah, it was a great Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, if that's the case. And also hope you all will have a wonderful New Year's Eve and 2 nights. I will be in Canada celebrating New Year's Eve. And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday, I'll be driving down towards Florida. And I'll be in Florida. Oh, by the way, so I will be in the Orlando area the week of the 4th and the week of the 11th. And then I will be down along the Atlantic coast towards Jupiter, Lauderdale area, the 3rd week of the 18th. The week of the 25th, back in Jupiter. And one other location on the 28th, I don't recall right now. And I've got 2 days of my own coaching up in Atlanta in the middle there. And then I've got a week at a mastermind event with some KW guys. And then I've got a week in Tampa the week of February 8th. So if you're in the Orlando area or out on the coast of Florida, where I've already taught, and you want to do a workshop, as long as I know, guys, a week in advance, I will come to your workshop. And for free, I'll get up and speak for a few moments and help you guys out. So keep that in mind if you want to pull that off. That's one of the best techniques you can use to get clients. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful night. And you guys take care. And, oh, Angie says, oh, you're working with Anastasia. Angie, that is awesome. All right, tell you what, give me a call, Angie. If you could, don't wait till the night. Give me a call this Saturday or Sunday. I'll be driving down. I got plenty of time, and let's walk through the launch sequence, okay? Okay, you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.